Fundamental Unit of Life, video number 4. Students, in my previous video I had discussed about the features and functions of nucleus and about prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. In this video I will be telling you about the cytoplasm, the features and functions of cytoplasm will be discussed. Then I will be telling you about the significance of membranes in eukaryotic organisms. Then the features and functions of some of the cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies and lysosomes will be discussed. At the end of this video, there is a small assignment that is to be done in your bio copy. First, study about cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the substance or material which is present inside the cell enclosed by the cell membrane excluding nucleus. Have a look at the diagram of cell. Here you find that the cell is bounded by a covering which is called as cell membrane or plasma membrane, about which in detail you have learned, right? Every living cell has got a eukaryotic cell has a spherical body called as the nucleus. The structure of nucleus in detail has already been dealt. Now between the cell membrane which bounds the cell and the nucleus, there is a substance which is present, and the substance that is present or the material which is present between the cell membrane and the nuclear membrane, this substance is what is called as cytoplasm. Okay, now cytoplasm is made up of two important components. What are they? The liquid or the gel-like substance, the fluid or the gel-like substance that is present in the cytoplasm is called as cytosol. And there are many membrane bound structures which are present in this cytosol. These membrane bound structures that you see, they are called as cell organelles. Okay, so the cytoplasm includes cytosol, which is a gel-like fluid, and the cell organelles, and along with that there are some cell inclusions also. These cell organelles, they play a very important role in the cell. Okay, so here in the picture of cell you find there are organelles like you've got mitochondria, you've got Golgi bodies, there is rough endoplasmic reticulum, here is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, there are lysosomes present. Okay, so these all membrane bound structures, they are referred to as cell organelles. They float in the cytoplasm and they are specialized to take up specific functions. Okay, each cell organelle has a special function to perform. Like for example, the mitochondria you've learnt in class 8 is a site where oxidation of food and release of energy occurs, right? Now in this video you will be learning, in later slides you will be learning about the functions of Golgi bodies, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the lysosomes and many other organelles. There are many organelles present in plant cells which are absent in the animal cells, so those also you will be learning. Okay, so floating in the cytoplasm are these organelles which are specialized to perform specific function. And the cytoplasm is a site of many biochemical activities. So many biochemical reactions go inside the cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is the material or the substance present between the cell membrane or the plasma membrane and the nuclear membrane, right? Now protoplasm is the cytoplasm with the nucleus, that is the fluid or the substance, the life-giving substance that is enclosed inside the cell by the plasma membrane. This life-giving substance is called as protoplasm. That is, cytoplasm along with nucleus is called as protoplasm, and the protoplasm excluding nucleus, if nucleus is excluded, then what is left is what is called as cytoplasm. Here the main difference between cytoplasm and protoplasm is shown. Cytoplasm, just have a look at this, is the protoplasm enclosed by the plasma membrane of the cell excluding the nucleus in eukaryotic cell and the cellular DNA in prokaryotic cell. Whereas protoplasm, just have a look. The protoplasm is a colorless material comprising the living part of the cell. This includes the cytoplasm, nucleus and all the cell organelles. So in this diagram of cell, just have a look at it. The whatever is enclosed inside the cell, that is the cytoplasm, all the organelles, all the cell inclusions and the nucleus together, this forms a life-giving substance, and that is called as a protoplasm. A cell without protoplasm will be considered as a dead cell. So what Robert Hooke had seen under his microscope, try to recall, Robert Hooke was the first person to observe the cell, and he gave the term cell to those tiny compartments that he had seen. So what he had seen were dead cells because those cells did not contain protoplasm. Okay, now the protoplasm is made up of compounds of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. That is, if the composition of protoplasm is seen, it comprises of water, which is one of the important component, and apart from that you will find there will be carbohydrates of various kinds, there are proteins, lipids, nucleic acids like DNA, RNA. So all these are contained in the protoplasm, and a cell without protoplasm will be considered as a dead cell. A biological membrane is a physical barrier that allows only certain substances to move in and out of the cell. In a eukaryotic cell, you find the plasma membrane acts like a selectively permeable membrane, and apart from plasma membrane, the organelles that are present in a eukaryotic cell, just now I've told you that floating in the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cell, there are lots of organelles that are present. There's mitochondria present, there's Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum. These are all the organelles present. So these organelles are also bounded by membrane, and the structure of the membranes that are present around the organelles and that of the plasma membrane is the same, right? Now these membrane bound organelles are absent in case of a prokaryotic cell. This is the structure of a prokaryotic cell, a bacterial cell, and try to recall, you have learned that the bacterial cell has got a plasma membrane, but organelles like that of eukaryotic cell are absent in case of prokaryotic cell. So here goes the importance of membrane. It's because of these membrane bound organelles in a eukaryotic cell. As there are plenty of membrane bound organelles, the eukaryotic cell can function quite efficiently when compared to that of a prokaryotic cell. A eukaryotic cell has got a complex structure and a complex organization, right? So in order to maintain its complex structure and function, there are plenty of biochemical reactions that are to be performed by this eukaryotic cells, right? And these biochemical reactions should go on without any interference, and so all these biochemical reactions occur in separate organelles which are all bounded by membranes. So because of the membranes that are surrounding these organelles, the reactions that go inside the mitochondria will not be interfered by the reactions that go in the Golgi complex, and whatever activity is going in the endoplasmic reticulum will go without any kind of interference. So presence of these membranes causes a sort of compartmentalization. Because of these membranes that are present, you find that in a eukaryotic cell there is compartmentalization. There are many such structures surrounded by membranes, and that increases the efficiency of a eukaryotic cell, whereas in case of a prokaryotic cell, there are these membrane bound structures are absent. Even the nuclear region that you see is not bounded by any kind of membrane. So in terms of efficiency, a eukaryotic cell is more efficient when compared to that of a prokaryotic cell, and this importance of membrane can also be seen when we compare a eukaryotic cell with that of a virus. Eukaryotic cells, they have membranes. There is compartmentalization in this, whereas in case of a virus, there are no membranes present, there are no organelles present, there is no cytoplasm, and that's why the virus cannot live on its own when it is present outside the host cell. When it is present outside the host cell, the virus behaves like a non-living thing, and only when it enters the host cell, by making use of the host biochemical reaction, it starts multiplying. So this shows how important are the membranes or those barriers which selectively allows certain substances to move in and out of the cell. Now let us learn about the cell organelles. Cell organelles, they are submicroscopic, subcellular, membrane-bound structures which are specialized to perform specific function in the cell. Have a look at the structure of the cell. Inside a eukaryotic cell, you find there are plenty of such membrane-bound organelles. I've already told you what are those organelles. Now these organelles, they are all surrounded by membrane, right? Some of the organelles are surrounded by one membrane, and there are some organelles that are bounded by two membranes. Like for example, you find the mitochondria, which is found in eukaryotic cell. It is surrounded by two membrane, whereas the Golgi bodies, right, the endoplasmic reticulum, then the lysosomes that you see in the cell, these are all bounded by single membrane. Apart from this, inside the cell you also find some structures which are not bounded by any membrane, and these includes the centrosome. There is centrosome lying very close to the nucleus. The centrosome or the centrioles, they have an important role to play in cell division. So the centrosomes, the nucleolus and the ribosomes which are present in the cell, they are not bounded by any membrane. So in a cell you find, inside a eukaryotic cell, there are these organelles which are present. Some of the organelles are bounded by one membrane, like the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies and the lysosomes, about which you'll be learning in this video. There are some organelles which are bounded by two membrane, like you've got the mitochondria. Then the plant cells have plastids, which are of three types: the chloroplast, chromoplast and the leucoplast. And there are some membraneless organelles or cell structures present in the cell, like the centrosome, the ribosomes and the nucleolus, which are not surrounded by any membrane. Students, let us now learn about the different organelles present in the cell in detail. Remember one thing, that these cell organelles can be seen only through an electron microscope. The compound microscope that we use in the lab will not be sufficient to study the ultra structure of the cell or the detailed structure of the cell organelles. So now let us study about endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is a complex network of membrane-bound channels, flat sacs, tubules and vesicles. Just have a look at the diagram of the endoplasmic reticulum shown over here. Here what is shown is, this is the nucleus, and you can find there is a network of these channels present. These network of channels, tubules or sacs, that is present in the cell. Okay, the entire cell is not drawn. If this is the cell, then in the cell you find such network, complex network of channels, tubules and sacs, and this complex network of channels, tubules and sacs, which is bounded by membrane, is what is called as endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum is surrounded by a single membrane. Okay, in the beginning, now I had told you that some organelles are bounded by one membrane, some are surrounded by two membranes. So the endoplasmic reticulum is an organelle that is surrounded by a single membrane, and the structure of the membrane will be the same as that of the plasma membrane. One more important thing is, what you find is that generally you find that the endoplasmic reticulum is connected to the nuclear envelope. Here have a look at the diagram. Here you find that the endoplasmic reticulum it is connected to the nuclear envelope on one side, and the other side you'll find it connected to the plasma membrane. Okay. Now, the endoplasmic reticulum is of two types. They are the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Have a proper look at this diagram, you'll find that the rough endoplasmic reticulum, these channels that you see, they've got some red dots attached on the surface, and these red dots are called as ribosomes. Okay, and because of the presence of ribosomes on the surface of rough endoplasmic reticulum, the rough endoplasmic reticulum when viewed under a microscope gives a rough texture. Okay, and hence the name as rough endoplasmic reticulum. So rough endoplasmic reticulum is the endoplasmic reticulum which has got ribosomes attached on its surface, whereas the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, have a look at this diagram, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is devoid of ribosomes. So endoplasmic reticulum, it's clearly seen over here, is of two types, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which in brief we can say it as RER, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum or the SER. Okay, just have a look at this diagram. This is a three-dimensional picture showing the arrangement of endoplasmic reticulum. So this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum, where you find that it is connected to the outer nuclear envelope, and here is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and on these rough endoplasmic reticulum you can see these red dots. These are actually those spherical bodies which are called as ribosomes, which are site of protein synthesis. The ribosomes are called as the factories, protein factories, because they are the ones which synthesize proteins. So rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes on the surface, whereas the smooth is devoid of ribosomes. Okay. Now, other important function of if we have to differentiate between the two types of endoplasmic reticulum, the important function of rough endoplasmic reticulum is that it is the site of protein synthesis. So proteins are synthesized over rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and that's possible because of the presence of ribosomes, whereas the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is the site of lipid synthesis. Okay, so the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, here the lipids are synthesized, whereas over the rough endoplasmic reticulum the proteins are synthesized, and through these channels that you see, the proteins will be taken to different parts of the cell. So here is the difference between the rough and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not have ribosomes, whereas the rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes attached on the outer surface. The main function of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is to make lipids. It makes lipids, is a site of lipid synthesis, whereas that of the rough endoplasmic reticulum is to synthesize proteins. Let's now study about the functions of endoplasmic reticulum. The first important function of endoplasmic reticulum is that the proteins which are made by the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the lipids that are made by the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, these are used for making membranes. Try to recall, I have told you that the plasma membrane or the membranes that are surrounding the organelles, they are all made up of proteins and lipids, and these proteins and lipids that makes up the membrane is actually made by the endoplasmic reticulum, and the process by which these membranes are made, that is called as membrane biogenesis. The term membrane biogenesis is self-explanatory. Okay, membrane is the barrier which selectively allows certain substances to move in and out, and genesis stands for making. So making of a living, that is bio membrane, is what is called as membrane biogenesis. Then the second important function of endoplasmic reticulum is that the endoplasmic reticulum makes proteins which can function as enzymes. Enzymes, these are biocatalysts. These are the biomolecules that take part in various biochemical reactions that go within the cell or the body. Like for example, digestion of food. For digesting food, many enzymes are required. The salivary enzyme that's required, there's pepsin, trypsin, and many other enzymes are required. And what are and these enzymes? They help the reaction to go in a proper way, in a faster way. And without these enzymes, the reaction may not occur. So these enzymes that are used in the body cells and in the body are actually proteins which are made by the endoplasmic reticulum. Then the third important function of endoplasmic reticulum is that the endoplasmic reticulum produces proteins which may be used to make proteins and lipids that can be used to make hormones. Try to recall, in class 8 you had learned that the hormones are the bio messengers. They are the chemical messengers which are secreted by endocrine glands, and they are poured directly into the blood, and then they affect various physiological functions including growth of the body. So these hormones are made from proteins and lipids that is produced by the endoplasmic reticulum. The proteins will be made over rough endoplasmic reticulum, whereas the lipids will be made over the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Then the next important function of endoplasmic reticulum is that the endoplasmic reticulum, it helps in intracellular and intercellular transportation. Here there is a correction to be done. This is intercellular. Okay. So the endoplasmic reticulum, it helps in intracellular and intercellular transportation of substance. Okay. Now intracellular transportation means within the cell, and intercellular is between the cells. So since the endoplasmic reticulum is like a channel, okay, it's a membranous organelle which is in the form of channels. So because of the channels, the proteins that are made, the lipids that are made, are transported through these channels to intracellular and intercellular regions. Okay, that is an important function of endoplasmic reticulum. Then because of its extensive nature, because of the fact that the endoplasmic reticulum, it spreads like a network in the cell, the endoplasmic reticulum gives support to the cytoplasm. That's another important function of this particular organelle. Then the next important function of the organelle is that it increases the surface area for various metabolic activities. Okay, there are many biochemical activities that are going in within the cell, and because of this the fact that they are like a network spreading throughout the cytoplasm, they increase the total surface area for various biochemical activities like protein synthesis and all. Then the last important function of the endoplasmic reticulum is that the endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is present in the liver, in the liver cell, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is the site of detoxification of toxins and drugs. Okay, there are lots of poisonous substances or toxic substances that may enter our body. Many a times you take medicines and the entire of the drug may not be used. So all these are to be made harmless. So they are made harmless in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is present in the liver cells. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum present in the liver cell is the site of detoxification of drugs and toxins. The next important cell organelle is Golgi bodies or Golgi apparatus, and as described by Camillo Golgi, he was the one who discovered Golgi bodies for the first time. It is an organelle of membrane bound sacs. It is an organelle of membrane bound sacs, tubules and vesicles that are specialized to elaborate and secrete biochemicals. The Golgi bodies are called as the secretory organelles. These are called as the secretory organelles of the cell because their main function is to secrete. right? So Golgi bodies, these are the organelles which are again bounded by membranes, and they are made up of tubules. These are Golgi bodies are made up of sac-like structures. They are made of such sac-like structures. They are made of tubules and vesicles. You can see these vesicles present. So these Golgi bodies are made up of tubules and vesicles, and their main function is to elaborate, that is to modify the biochemicals that are packed within them and to secrete such biochemicals to different places. Now have a closer look at the structure of the Golgi bodies. The Golgi bodies or the Golgi apparatus, they are made up of flattened sac-like structures which are called as vesicles. Okay, these flattened sac-like structures or the vesicles, they are arranged almost parallel to one another. Okay, so these flattened sac-like structures or vesicles, they are which are arranged almost parallel to one another, these are called as cisterns. These are called as cisterns. And from the sides of these cisterns, you can see there are vesicles or sac-like structures which are continuously being pinched off. There are some vesicles which one side, the vesicles or these sac-like structures, they join or they fuse to the Golgi bodies, and the other side, these vesicles, they are pinched off from the Golgi bodies. Okay, so these Golgi bodies, they are mainly made up of flattened sac-like structures which are arranged parallel to one another, and these flattened sac-like structures, they are referred to as cisterns, and there are some vesicles that surround the Golgi bodies. These Golgi bodies, you will find them present very close to the endoplasmic reticulum. Have a look at this diagram. You find that the Golgi bodies lie very close to the endoplasmic reticulum. In fact, the membranes of the Golgi body forms connection with the membranes of the endoplasmic reticulum. Have a look at this. You find that just now I've told you that the endoplasmic reticulum, they make proteins and lipids. So the proteins and lipids that are made by the endoplasmic reticulum, they'll be pinched off in the form of sac-like structures. Can you see? Just have a look. These are those sac-like structures which are being pinched off or separated from the endoplasmic reticulum. Then these sac-like structures then fuse with the Golgi bodies. Okay, they fuse up with the Golgi bodies, and then these sac-like structures, they contain those proteins and lipids which have been made by the endoplasmic reticulum. So these sac-like structures will fuse with the Golgi bodies, and then they start moving from one cistern to other cistern. As these biochemicals, they move from one cistern to other cistern, on the way they will be modified. For example, a protein may be attached with some glucose or some carbohydrate. So in this way, elaboration or modification of that biochemical is done. And finally, after this modification or elaboration, the material has to be secreted. So from the other side of the Golgi body, you find that these substances which have been elaborated, they will be pitched off or they will be secreted in the form of sac-like structures. Some of these sac-like structures may be later on turning into lysosomes, because Golgi bodies, they are the organelles which also make this lysosomes, which is another cell organelle about which I'll be telling you. And there may be some vesicles which might be having some biochemicals which is to be secreted out. So they are secreted out from the cell by the process which is called as exocytosis. You have learned about endocytosis, that is a process by which the materials are taken into the cell, and the process by which the materials, they are thrown out or secreted out of the cell. This is called as exocytosis. So in the form of vesicles, the Golgi bodies will pinch off those biochemicals. Those vesicles or sac-like structures will then fuse with the outer plasma membrane, and from there the materials are secreted out, right? So here you have got the definition or meaning of Golgi bodies. It is an organelle of membrane bound sacs, tubules and vesicles which is specialized to elaborate, secrete biochemicals. The vesicles are flattened sacs and are arranged approximately parallel to each other. So now let us see the functions of Golgi bodies. The Golgi bodies, they are involved in repair and synthesis of plasma membrane. Okay, plasma membrane I've told you is made from proteins and lipids, and they are the proteins and lipids are made by the endoplasmic reticulum. So after this, have a look at this diagram. So the endoplasmic reticulum, this diagram that you see here, the endoplasmic reticulum, it makes the proteins and lipids. Then these proteins and lipids will be packed into sac-like structures. They are then fuse. They then fuse with the Golgi bodies, the cisterns of Golgi bodies. On the way, they will be modified, and finally the Golgi bodies will secrete these proteins and lipids, okay, or the biochemicals from one of the other side of it, which is then used for either repairing the plasma membrane. It can be used for secreting. These vesicles may be used for, they may be secreting the materials out of the cell, or these vesicles may be behaving like lysosomes. So the Golgi bodies, they are involved in repair synthesis of plasma membrane. The other important function of Golgi body is the lysosomes. I've just now told you lysosomes. You have learned in class 8 also that the lysosomes are called as suicidal bags. So the lysosomes are formed by Golgi bodies or Golgi complex. Then other important function is that the materials which are synthesized by endoplasmic reticulum, they are packed and dispatched to various targets in and out of the cell by the Golgi bodies. Here the diagram clearly shows that how the materials which are made by the endoplasmic reticulum, they are packed by the Golgi bodies, they may be modified, and then they are transported to various targets either for secretion, or they can be taken to some intracellular region where they may be used. Then the other important function of Golgi bodies is that it takes part in storage. It takes part in storage, modification and packing of products in the form of vesicles, which has been told to you just now. Then the complex sugars are made from simple sugars by the Golgi complex or the Golgi bodies. When we say it as modification, once the materials which are maybe made by the endoplasmic reticulum, when they move into the Golgi bodies, then they may be modified. If a complex, if there is a simple sugar, then the simple sugar may be connected to a protein, and then a complex protein can be made from it, and glycoprotein can be made from it. Or if there is a sugar which has been made in the cell, it can be converted to a complex sugar by the Golgi bodies. So these are the important functions that are performed by the Golgi bodies. This diagram which is shown over here, this diagram shows how the complete functions of Golgi bodies is seen in this diagram. One is that it is involved in making of lysosomes. Then it also is in, like, it packs the materials which are secreted by endoplasmic reticulum, and then it takes it modifies it, and then it later it secretes it or to different targets in the form of secretory vesicles. Okay, the target can be either extracellular region, that is out of the cell, or it can be somewhere inside the cell. Okay, so these are the important functions that are performed by the Golgi bodies. The next important cell organelle is the lysosome. A lysosome is found only in case of animal cell. You don't find lysosomes in the plant cells. Okay, recently scientists have discovered some lysosomal enzyme in the vacuole of plant cells, but lysosomes are not found in the plant cells. They are found only in the animal cells. Okay, and lysosomes, they are spherical vesicles. These are spherical bodies or spherical membrane bound organelles which contain powerful digestive enzymes. Internally, the lysosomes are filled up with digestive enzymes which can digest all kinds of organic material or the biomolecules. Right now, the enzymes which are present in the lysosomes, these enzymes are made by the endoplasmic reticulum. The enzymes which are present are manufactured by endoplasmic reticulum, because just now I've told you when I was discussing about the function of endoplasmic reticulum, I had told that the proteins which are made may be acting as enzymes, right? So they are made by the endoplasmic reticulum, but these are packed into sac-like structures by the Golgi bodies. Have a look at this diagram here. As told to you just now, that the endoplasmic reticulum will make the enzyme, then those will be pinched off from the endoplasmic reticulum as these sac-like structures. They'll fuse, and then they may be modified. The enzymes or the proteins will be modified into an enzyme, and then these are packed into sac-like structures by the Golgi bodies, and then they now are released as sacs in the form of lysosomes, right? So the lysosomes, they are made by the Golgi bodies, but the enzymes which are present inside them, they are made by the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, they are made by the endoplasmic reticulum, modified by Golgi bodies, and secreted as vesicles of lysosomes by the Golgi bodies. Okay, so that's about the lysosome. Now let us study about the functions of lysosome. Now, lysosomes, they are known as digestive bags of the cell. Why they are called as digestive bags of the cell? Because they help in intracellular digestion of food. Have a look at this diagram. This diagram shows endocytosis performed by, this diagram that you see, it shows the endocytosis performed by amoeba. So when the food is taken by amoeba, I have told you that it makes cup-shaped structure. It produces pseudopodia, making a cup-shaped structure, and then the food is taken inside in the form of a sac-like structure containing the food. This sac-like structure containing food is called as phagosome. Okay, it's not called as a food vacuole initially. When will it be called as food vacuole? When the sac-like structure will fuse with the lysosome, because for digesting the food which is there, here the food in this diagram, that what is shown is the food of amoeba, it is the bacterium, right? So once the food has been taken and packed into a sac-like structure, this food which is there inside the sac-like structure or the phagosome has to be digested. So for digesting it, the lysosomes which are present in the cell will fuse with the phagosome or the sac containing food. So lysosomes, as I said you, they contain powerful digestive enzyme. So the lysosomes, they come closer to the lysosomes, they come closer to this sac-like structures, and there they will be fusing with the sac and releasing all their digestive enzymes. So once the digestive enzymes are released inside by the lysosomes, this digestion of food will take place. Okay, the food will be digested, right? And because of this, the lysosomes, because they are helping the food to be digested within the cell, or they are said to be as digestive bags of the cell. So due to this helping in intracellular digestion, the lysosomes are said to be as digestive bags of the cell. Then other important function of the lysosome is that they are also called as scavengers of the cell. What is a scavenger? Which keeps on the scavengers, they are the ones which feed on the dead bodies, right? And they play a very important role in cleaning up the environment. The lysosomes are called as scavengers because they help in cleaning the cell. How they help in cleaning the cell? They will be helping, they help so by digesting the organelles. Suppose, as shown in this diagram, suppose the mitochondria is not functioning well, then the lysosomes which are present in the cell will come close to the mitochondria, and then they will fuse with the mitochondria. The moment they fuse with the mitochondria, the enzymes in the lysosomes will be released, and then this will cause digestion of the organelle. And thus the mitochondria which was not functioning will be removed, and in the place a new mitochondria will be made, right? So because the lysosomes clean up the cells by digesting or removing the dead and worn out cell organelles, so they remove the dead and worn out cell organelles by digesting them, the lysosomes, they are referred to as scavengers of the cell. Then the next important function of lysosome is that they are also referred to as suicidal bags. Why? Because when the cell has got damage, when the cell gets damaged, then the lysosomes which are present in the cell will burst, then they will release all the enzymes inside and the entire cellular components will be digested. So this results in death of the cell, and due to this the lysosomes are called as the suicidal bags. Look here, the last diagram that you see. Okay, so when a cell, suppose a cell is not functioning, if the cell is not functioning, the lysosomes which are present in the cell will burst open, and when the lysosomes burst open, the entire of the cell will be digested. Okay, and this causes the death of the cell, and that's why the lysosomes are known as the suicidal bags of the cell. So today we have learned about three of the cell organelles, that is endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi bodies or the Golgi complex, also called as Golgi apparatus, and the lysosomes. And on the basis of the video that you have watched just now, there are some questions. These questions you have to do in your bio copies. So the questions are, the first question is differentiate between cytoplasm and protoplasm. The next question is what is membrane biogenesis. Next, what will happen if the cell will lack Golgi bodies. Next is differentiate between rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And last, name the cell organelle that has strong digestive or hydrolytic enzyme in it, and discuss the role of it in digestion of food in amoeba.